Hey, you! Guess what? The most magical time of the year is upon us! Is it Christmas, Mr. Meltdown? Really? Already? What? No! 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 Also, didn't we do this bit last year? I swear we did this bit last year. I mean, I don't know. I'm just reading the script that you wrote that you gave to me. Like it's all right here. Like I don't really know what to tell you. Well, somebody wrote the script, but it wasn't me. Well, if you didn't write it, then who did? Anyways, top 10 best metal albums of 2025. With a twist this time around. It was genuinely, really difficult to nail down a top 10 best album list thingy-mabob because guess what? 2025 was, in my opinion, kinda awesome. There were tons of fantastic albums. Some of y'all love to think all I do is talk shit, but I think we got a record amount of like 4 out of 5, 4.5 out of 5 reviews this year. We had 2 5 out of 5 reviews within like a week and a half of each other, for fuck's sake. So, fuck it. We're expanding the top 10. It's like a top 15 now, kind of. Yeah, why not? Except top 15 isn't as catchy as top 10. It doesn't have the power, so best metal albums of 2025. Yeah! Other than that, it's pretty much business as usual. I will talk about each album in order of release, and I will let you know what the #1 album of the year is when I get to it. And just so we're all clear, I want you to know that if your best albums list looks different from my best albums list, it's not because we just happen to disagree and we have lists that look different and we have different tastes in music. It's because I hate you and you have bad taste in music. I'm objectively right and you're objectively wrong. And also, I am a poser or an elitist. Whichever one suits your argument better. I've heard both. They mean nothing to me at this point. Alright, let's go! Yeah! Okay, let's go after a drink. Just a quick little drink, alright? Alright, just a quick little drinky poo. Just a quick little drinky poo. Because it really has been an excellent year, folks. So take a moment, get yourself a glass, get yourself a glass of whatever you like. I am drinking a delicious coconut-flavored tequila that I bought in Mexico about a week and a half ago. God, I miss Mexico. I loved it there so much. Anyways, we're gonna... There we go. There we go. Now it's pouring out. Now it's pouring out. Cheers to you. Cheers to all of the bands that made excellent music this year, even the ones that didn't make it on this list, because again, it really was an amazing fucking year, in my opinion. Cheers, I love you, salut, let's go. Oh, woo. Strong but smooth. Ooh, I like it. First up, we have Tavastland from Havukruunu, released February 28th via Savart Records. It is an epic, adventurous, melodic, pagan, Viking black metal album with a lot of influence from like old school 80s heavy metal and first wave black metal with like galloping guitars and soaring solos, you know, a lot of Iron Maiden, Bathory, Merciful Fate kind of shit thrown into the mix here. I just feel like I'm on this big, bold, cinematic adventure with this album, and I really like how it explores themes of paganism, reconnecting with nature, and it's also a critique of like a modern disconnect and how we use social media, technology to escape from the real world around us. It's also very much about the real kind of rebellion in Finland's Tavastia region, where locals fought the Swedish Christian invaders in like the 13th, 14th century, something like that. Easily Havukruunu's best album to date. Their moodiest, their most atmospheric, their most cold and icy, and just their most fun. Like, there are so many great guitar licks and so many fun, catchy headbanging riffs on this bad boy, and it never detracts from, like, the atmosphere of it all. Like, it never loses that grim kind of frostbitten touch, despite it being objectively a fun black metal record. Next up, we have Gold Star from Imperial Triumphant, released March 21st via Century Media Records. Now, y'all know me. Y'all know I love Imperial Triumphant with all my gosh dang heart. This was going to be on this list in this video no matter what. But what I love specifically about this album is that it takes everything weird and erratic and crazy and extreme and just mind-bendingly cool about Imperial Triumphant, and it manages to kind of condense it into more traditional song structures. There's a lot of refinement done here, and it makes for an album that is still very weird, and it still has a lot of character. Like, it's still the New York jazz fusion, experimental, extreme, blackened, avant-garde, death metal, fucking nonsense and insanity. But also, it is weirdly a lot more accessible. It doesn't feel as over-the-top or overwhelming, you know? Like, it goes down pretty easy, you know what I mean? That's what she said! Hell yeah, brother! Woo! There is just so much stuff that is just so fucking cool, man. Like, I could go on forever. The towering technical guitars, the use of dissonance and horns and, like, free-form jazz improv, jazz fusion shit. The way that you have, like, you know, 1 minute it's like a 1930s jingle in the title track, and then New York City is like this really noisy, violent, intense kind of like grindcore. Masterfully written, performed, crafted, produced, executed, all the way through. What more really needs to be said at this point? It's motherfucking Imperial Triumphant, god motherfucking damn it. Next up, we have Lonely People with Power from Deafheaven, released March 28th via Roadrunner Records. The most sprawling, emotive, immersive, and cathartic album that Deafheaven has put out yet, which is a big claim, because that is something they've consistently excelled at, with records like Sunbather, New Bermuda, Ordinary Corrupt Human Love. But I stand by it. I don't care. I love this album. I love the intense combination of colors and tones. The shoegaze, the post-metal, the black metal, alternative rock. I love all the different kind of lush atmospheres, the violent guitars. I love kind of the more proggy metallic guitars that pop up in certain parts. The use of noise and spoken word vocals and all the different beautiful, vast melodies and such. You know, it feels like a big, warm, versatile blanket. Lyrically, too, this thing is intense. It can be emotionally quite devastating at times. I really like how it explores toxic masculinity and power dynamics, and I love overall just how vulnerable and open Deafheaven is on this album. It is to a certain degree Deafheaven doing what they do best, but it's also them doing so with so many new spices, so many different curveballs, pulling from so many different sources of influence and inspiration, and you know, getting just way more deep and way more kind of introspective and vulnerable with it as well. This, along with the aforementioned Gold Star, got a 5 out of 5 score. Of the two, I would say I prefer this, and in fact, this is probably my #1 metal album of the year. Maybe my #1 album of the year overall in any genre, period. It is just fantastic. Oh, come on, Mr. Meltdown! That ain't nothing but a bunch of pussy poser, wimp garbage. They had a pink album cover, and then nobody cares! Let it go! Grow up! God damn it! Great album, though. Check it out. Next up, we have Rivers of Nihil from Rivers of Nihil. It's a self-titled album, released May 30th via Metal Blade Records. These guys took a lot of big chances with this record. They made a lot of big decisions and made a lot of big changes. For one, this strays from the seasonal concepts that have defined previous albums. It is also expanding on the more melodic, epic, semi-bombastic prog metal of the work. It's a more personal album. It's a more provocative album as well, as the band goes into more social, political territory here and there. Big risk, but big payoff in my opinion. It's grand, it's elegant, it's robust. I love how the band incorporate these huge melodies and saxophones and waves of like cascading textures and atmospheres. I love that there's still like really crippling kind of like tech deaf shit in here as well. It's nice to see they haven't abandoned the heavier side of their sound. This may be one of the more divisive, controversial inclusions on this list in this video. Not everyone was really loving it at the time of release. I personally don't care, because it's my list, my video, and I love this album. Next up, we have Edge of the Abyss from Calva Louise, released July 11th via Mascot Records. Out of all the albums we're talking about in this video today, this is the one I maybe had the most fun with. I mean, the combination of like Latin influences, you know, the guitars, the vocals, these like Latin dancey rhythms, and like smooth, sexy synth waves, and all these dynamic keyboards, and all these big, bright, punchy, powerful, poppy choruses, with this kind of like groovy modern metalcore, and a little bit of like a mathcore kind of edge to it as well. It's fantastic. It's enthralling. It's unpredictable. And despite the fact that there's a lot of stuff just happening all the time, it never really feels like Calva Louise is just kind of throwing shit at the wall to see what sticks. It never feels like they're just kind of doing random crap for shock value. At least I don't think so. Like, it's still a very cohesive album, in my opinion. It's a blast from start to finish, and to be honest, two of my favorite songs of the entire year also happen to be on this album, Impeccable and The Abyss. If you only listen to two songs from this album, make sure it's those two fucking songs. Next up, we have Hesitating Lights from Floating, released July 11th via Transcending Obscurity Records. I like this album more and more every single time I listen to it. I am impressed more and more by this album every time I think about it. It has this very interesting fusion, emulsification, really, of this kind of like grim, sinister, morose death metal and like very moody death rock and post-rock and post-punk. It's a combination I never really thought of, to be honest, and it leads to, I think, some of the most different sounding and feeling death metal of the year. Like, it has this real emotional kind of weight to it. The cavernous, grim, raw tones and guttural vocals and death metal guitars surprisingly mesh pretty well with the post-punk, post-rock atmospheres and chords. It shimmers and shines even in the album's most sonically brutal and intense moments. There aren't really a lot of other death metal albums as unique as this in 2025, and certainly nothing else that sounds like this or feels like this at all. For that reason alone, even if I didn't love this record, I would still highly recommend this. Like, there's just really nothing else that sounds quite like this, and I challenge anyone watching and listening right now to prove me wrong. Spoiler alert, you probably won't. I'll give you the benefit of the doubt, though. I'll let you cook. You've let me cook now and then, I will let you cook. We got a deal? Alright, we got a deal. Next up, we have Blackbraid 3 from Blackbraid, released August 8th, independently. A lot of people love to give Blackbraid a lot of shit. They have been dismissed as overhyped, overproduced modern black metal crap. There have been accusations of cultural appropriation, people accusing the band's leader and overall guy in charge, he does everything, Skagasawa, of not being as authentically Native American as he claims to be. And quite frankly, I just don't really care, because like, if I didn't listen to something solely because black metal nerds didn't like it, I would end up not listening to a lot of fucking stuff. And secondly, I just don't think it's really my place as a white man to be questioning the authenticity of a Native American and their art. I don't think that's my place. I'm not fucking touching that with a 10-foot pole. All that matters to me is that Blackbraid 3 is bigger, bolder, better, more beautiful than other Blackbraid albums. It is their best produced and executed album to date. I love how Blackbraid is further incorporating Native American stories and instruments and influences into the sounds, the folksy guitars, the strings, the sounds of nature. I love how we have this very like dark, muscular, epic kind of black metal as well, with huge, soaring melodic licks and leads and lush atmospheres. It's just great, man. You can hate on Blackbraid all you want. I don't fucking care. I ride for Blackbraid. You and me, Blackbraid. You and me, Skagasawa. I got you. We got this. Let's fucking go. Next up, we have Primeval Obsession Detachment from Tallah, released September 5th via Earache Records. A nu metal album on a Metal Meltdown End of the Year, Album of the Year list video thingy-mabob? Really? Who'da funkin' thought it? Would you have thunkin' thought it?
No, I absolutely would not have thunkin' thought it, Mr. Meltdown.
I would not have funkin' thought it either. I don't even fully know what I'm saying at this point. Here's what I do know. This is one of the most vicious, erratic, unhinged, and totally creative nu metal albums I've maybe ever heard, at least since the glory days of the genre. Like, the combination of, like, old school nu metal influences and, like, crazy funky bass lines and some surprisingly technical, progressive, complex guitars and arrangements and, like, hardcore beatdowny bits and, like, metalcore, deathcore bits here and there. It's really interesting. I love the sci-fi story and aesthetic as well. Sonically, it's a destructive record, too. I mean, like, the vocals, the percussion, these guys went all out. They went motherfucking ham on this bad boy. And I love how it uses repetitive beats here and there to transition into songs, and I love how it has these very, like, ominous kind of quiet moments that contrast really nicely with these big explosive moments. Easily one of the best and most creative nu metal albums I've heard, and that has been released in over 20 years. I love it. Fantastic. If more nu metal sounded like this, I would frankly be listening to more nu metal. Next up, we have Hideous Aftermath from Sanguisugabogg, Sandwich Sugarbong, Sausage Cyborg, Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, even though the sound it makes is always quite atrocious, released October 10th via Century Media Records. It just goes hard. It just goes crazy hard. That's it. Wrap it up. We're done. No, but for real, I think Sanguisugabogg have put out maybe the most entertaining big-name death metal album of the year. Like, I love how it pulls from different corners of death metal in very subtle ways. Like, there's a lot of old school death metal aggression. There's, like, gory death metal, slam, brutal death metal, technical complexities, nuances here and there scattered across as well. I mean, Repulsive Demise even has some, like, kind of industrial, dark kind of underbelly to it. And then the closing number, Paid in Flesh, featuring Dylan Walker from Full of Hell, has this kind of, like, noisy Death Doom kind of shade to it in the latter half. And there are so many thick, groovy, girthy, nasty fucking riffs all the way through, insane vocals from my boy Devin Swank, and also from members of Cattle Decapitation, Full of Hell Again, Defeated Sanity. Hands down, some of the best production, mixing, and mastering work I've heard on a death metal album this year as well. Like, it is crystal clear and has so much goddamn fucking punch to it. It just goes hard. It just goes fucking hard. What more do you want me to say? Next up, we have The Blue Nowhere from Between the Buried and Me, released September 12th via Century Media Records. This is Between the Buried and Me, admittedly at their most wacky and kooky. I ain't even gonna lie to you. But I kind of love it for that reason. Like, it is just a fun, eclectic, funky, cool listen. A lot of old school kind of like prog rock kind of bullshit here. Some antics I would maybe expect of like a Devin Townsend or a Steve Vai record. And of course, all of the usual obscenities and spices and flavors of a classic Between the Buried and Me kind of prog metal affair. The end result is something very versatile, multifaceted, and chock full of flavor. I love how we go from like these 80s sounding synths to like classic prog rock rhythms and time signatures and structures and sprawls, and then like more vicious kind of classic, like late 2000s, early 2010s kind of progressive metalcore. The whole thing is like a big dumb roller coaster, really, and I mean that in the best way possible. And it still has so much polish and finesse to it as well. Like, you can tell that there's a lot of time and that was put into this. There's a lot of attention to detail in a lot of the different riffs and keyboards and rhythms and atmospherics and such. When I initially uploaded my review, the notorious Scale It Back left this comment: "Wouldn't it be funny if shouldn't be the basis for a band, but ADD-addled modern audiences certainly make it lucrative." And he also uploaded a video around this time basically arguing that he has decided that Between the Buried and Me is inauthentic, just just based on his own extremely close-minded view of music.
Now wait a minute! Isn't that the same guy who said he was happy Trevor Strand killed himself and also made a video celebrating Trevor Strand's suicide within hours of it having happened? Basically monetizing off of tragedy and misery?
Why yes, Thrashin' Jackson, it is. He historically has very bad, very cruel takes. Don't listen to him. Have fun. Check this album out. Next up, I don't have 11 fingers. Let's say that this is a 10 and this is a 1. 11. Next up, This Sleeping City from an Abstract Illusion. Released October 17th via Willow Tip Records. For some reason, 2022's Woe never quite clicked with me. It was a great album, don't get me wrong, I want to make that clear. I think it's a great album. I just wasn't convinced that it was one of those like once-in-a-lifetime masterpiece prog metal albums that everyone else at the time thought it was. I just didn't. I don't know. I can't even really explain why. It just didn't really click with me that way. And neither is this, for the record. Like, The Sleeping City is not one of the greatest prog metal albums ever made of all time forever. But it does click with me more than Woe. Like, I feel like I'm seeing more of an Abstract Illusion and what makes them so special with this album than I did with Woe. Maybe a hot take, but so be it. I stand by it. More importantly, and in context of the conversation we're supposed to have right now, it's just an amazing album. Like, its blend of, like, Opethian-style prog and big, grandiose prog and different acoustic arrangements and keyboards and strings and orchestral stuff, it's just fantastic. It's cinematic, it's daring, it's adventurous, it's so big and so bright. Like, whereas Woe felt more bitter and reserved and dark, this just feels like Abstract Illusion kind of like blossoming outwards and gleaming with spirit and energy. Like, I'm really enjoying this album. This almost didn't make the list, so you can thank me for expanding the top 10 into a top 15, because that's how it basically made the list. You're welcome. Next up, we have a new album from an underrated but still very influential thrash metal band that up until this moment hasn't released anything in over 30 years.
Oh my god! It's Dark Angel, ain't it? Yeah!
Oh god, no! No! It's Dissonance Theory from Coroner, released October 17th via Century Media Records. It really feels like Coroner have picked up exactly where they left off with 1993's Grin, and at the same time, it feels like they've actually paid a lot of attention to what's been happening in metal over the course of the last 30 years, and specifically, they've been paying attention to a lot of different bands that they kinda paved the way for. And the result is an album with real urgency and relevancy. It's not like a nostalgic, classic, throwback kind of thrash metal record that wants you to relive the glory days of thrash metal. No, it actually has like a lot to say and offer. A lot of different grooves and tones here. You have chunkier rhythms, you have more twisted, convoluted riffs, lots of melodic bits and moody atmospheres, and yeah, a little bit of just old school thrash metal pyrotechnics here and there, and it's fun, and it's great, I ain't gonna lie. Love how it explores cognitive dissonance as well. Bottom line, if you're an older metal band putting out a new album after 20, 30 years, this is the new bar. This is where you need to be. Otherwise, don't bother. Next up, we have Viribus Unitus from 1914, released November 14th via Napalm Records. Epic, depraved, blackened death metal with melodic tones, with doomy shades and rhythms and textures here and there, inspired by real events and stories from the Great War, from World War I. It's about a Ukrainian soldier fighting in the war, doing unspeakable things, and just trying to get home. It is powerful, it is provocative, it is important, and it is devastating, and it is excellent. The latter half especially, where we go into more morose, grim, almost kind of gothic territory with all these different special guests and keyboards and such, it really is beautiful stuff. And I love the use of the Ukrainian national anthem. It's not a jingle, as I somewhat foolishly called it in the original review. The use of the Ukrainian national anthem in War Out the End as well, with the question mark kind of foreshadowing the fact that war is a never-ending cycle, that violence is is a never-ending cycle, and the fact that specifically Ukraine is just kind of, they got it fucked right now, to be blunt. That's the nice way of putting it. Consistently brutal while striking an amazing balance of black and death metal. Very heavy Canon and Feber vibes, which is also possibly why I really like this album. I was not really aware too much of 1914 beforehand. I promise you I'm going to pay way more attention to them going forward. Next up, we have The Dreaming Prince in Ecstasy from Lamp of Murmuur, released November 14th via Wolves of Hades. This is yet another band I was not really all that aware of beforehand, and much like with 1914, I'm going to change that. I'm going to be very aware of this band going forward. I'm going to pay very close attention to them. This is kind of a late inclusion to this list, but I don't care. I kinda love this album. It's combination of this kind of like grim, kind of vampiric black metal with like gothic overtones and keyboards and these very flamboyant, elegant, epic, orchestral, choral vocals and dynamics. It's just so fucking cool. This is like if Cradle of Filth was good and also wasn't operated by a total D-bag. There's so much going on. It's very theatrical, very over the top. It never feels obnoxious or cheesy though. And it's able to have all these different strings, choral vocals, all these different elements, all these different theatrics, while still sounding like kind of a raw, nasty, aggressive black metal affair. The multi-part title track, Dreaming Prince in Ecstasy, is by itself probably one of the most interesting and diverse compositions I've heard in 2025. There is so much happening just in these 3 songs, in these 3 parts of this one song, that I could probably do an entire video just dissecting that. Alright, here we go! One more album, Ethereal Horizons from Blut Aus Nord, released November 28th via Debemir Morty Productions. After the double whammy of Lovecraftian black metal madness that was Disharmonium, Blut Aus Nord is returning to more vast, open, cosmic, psychic, psychedelic black metal waters with this album here. It is probably most similar to 2019's Hallucinogen, so much so that when I was done with this album initially, it kind of auto-played into Hallucinogen and I didn't even question it. I love that though. I love the vast open feel of this album. I love how immersive and consuming and enveloping it is. I love how it has this oddly kind of heavenly, in a spacey kind of way, kind of presence to it. Like it really does feel like I'm soaring through the vast reaches of time and space, you know? And also being crushed by it. Like, I want to make it clear, this is still a pretty heavy record. In fact, I would dare argue a little bit of that twisted Lovecraftian madness remains intact in certain parts here and there. We literally just reviewed this album a couple days ago, so I don't really feel the need to go into further detail. It's just a fantastic record, another one that you need to check out. And oh my fucking god, we did it! Holy shit, that was big, that was a lot, that took longer to record than I thought. So yeah. There you have it. Those are, in my opinion, the best metal albums of 2025. Thank you for being here. I love you. Now it's your turn to tell me, what were your favorite albums of 2025? What do you think of all of these albums? Did I get it right? Did I get it wrong? Did I get it somewhere in the middle? Do you hate me? Do you love me? Are we best friends? I think we're best friends because we went together on this journey together. But also I hate you and you have bad taste. It's what I said earlier in the video, and I stand by it. All right, I'm rambling. I'm done. We Gucci, we good. Subscribe. Other videos. Stay tuned for more end of the year content. Goodbye, and as always, have a fantastic fucking day.